right, so anyway, we're gonna get started. So last time we met, we had this site with the link right there where we see the urn. Basically, if you were to click on it, it would bring you to make the copy to the digital breakout room clue. And from here, we have the secret message that's in blue and then the viewfinder. And if you were to either click and drag the viewfinder or use the arrow keys on the viewfinder, it would reveal the secret message. So in this case, I'm just going to move it over a little bit. And it shows to start at the Temple of Athena Nike. Then we've got this other link, and that's going to bring us to the document that has our color lock. So again, that was what we covered last week. Just going to go ahead and make the copy. And then from here, of course, what you would do is you would type in the correct answer. And once the correct answer was typed in, it would appear with a particular color. Okay, so I'm just going to go over this document and go over to my answer key. That way you can see what we're doing for our next clue. All right, so our word lock is going to be, whoops, it's up there. But anyway, so we did our color lock and our number lock last time. Our word lock in this case is going to be the word Acropolis. And unfortunately, there's just a little bit of lag right now as I'm trying to scroll through. There we go. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to have a Google drawing that's going to have the word lock, and we'll be making it into a puzzle. So I'm just going to go over here to the link that I have in my document. I just sort of organized everything into a document. So there's the word Acropolis, and it's in Greek. And we've got sort of this picture of the Acropolis sort of looking from the ground up. I used word art in order to make this, and that way it's just a little bit more colorful. You just click on Insert, and then you would click on, it's taking a little while to load, click on Insert and Word Art, and so that's how I basically created this. You can do this in English as opposed to Greek. I did it in Greek to make it a little more difficult for students. Then you're going to download it as a JPEG image. What this is going to do is it's going to allow us to make it into a jigsaw puzzle. So right now what I'm going to do, I'm just going back over to my resources. You're going to go to jigsawplanet.com in order to make it into a jigsaw puzzle. So what it's going to do is you will have to sign up in order to create your jigsaw puzzle. In this case, I already have an account, so as soon as it loads, I'm going to go ahead and click on Sign In. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and enter my username and password. Okay, and then from here, what you can do is my puzzles will have any puzzles that you've previously created. But for now, I'm just going to create a new puzzle. So it's pretty self-explanatory. You're going to choose the image. Yep, my puzzles for anything you previously created. So you're going to click over where it says Choose File. And then from here, you should see the download that you just did as a JPEG image. So you're going to click on that and open. And then you have the ability to change how easy or difficult the puzzle is. So, depending on the level of your students, you could do as little as 4 pieces. or as hard as 300 pieces. For the purposes of what we're doing right now, I'm just going to go with 12. And you get to choose the shapes that you have. So obviously, depending on the shapes, that's going to be more or less difficult. And then you have the ability to create tags such as ancient Greece if you wanted other people to search, and then click on create. Okay, so now we have our 12-piece puzzle. And one thing I want to point out is that it does give you, sort of this whole entire, sort of desktop to work with. But I just want to point out that it's not going to take up that entire amount of space. So you'll notice kind of as I put this together, that it's not actually going to be as tall or as wide as what we see here. So it's just going to take a moment for me to figure out how to put this together. So I'm assuming there's probably, one other piece that we're going to need. So you'll notice that even though we've got the entire width right there, it doesn't actually show, it doesn't go across the entire sort of thing here. All right. So anyway, that being said, what you're going to do is you're going to copy the URL of this so that way you can put this as one of your clues in your scene. Right now it shows it as being somewhat done, but that's because I'm logged in as eFoley81. But that being said, students are not going to be logged in. So when they get it, it's not going to be partially constructed for them. So right now I'm just going to copy that URL. And I'm going to go back over to my digital escape scene. Okay, so I'm sorry, I just had closed out the scene in order to avoid having too many windows open at once, because unfortunately, or more tabs rather, the more tabs I have open, the slower it is, unfortunately. And I'm trying to maximize this experience for you. So anyway, from that point, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a new shape. So I'm just going to go ahead and select a rectangle. I'm just going to draw a rectangle over that top left display just to be able to demonstrate. So then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to link it. And then I'm going to paste the link to my Jigsaw Planet. And then make it so that it has a transparent fill and a transparent line. Okay, so now we're going to get into the next part of what we're going to be doing. So just want to confirm everybody can hear me and see me. Okay, so unfortunately, I don't think that Mary can use the chat or might not be able to hear me or see me. So luckily, I will be posting this afterward. Just going to make sure that I'm still recording. Okay, good. We're still recording. Luckily, I will be posting this afterward in Google Classroom. So I'm just going to go back over to my materials for this week. All right. And then what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to go to Google Translate because of the fact that I made my word lock in Greek. I'm going to include a link to Google Translate so that way students can translate it to English. So you'll notice that this already has Greek to English, and it has the first letter. The URL, so you can see there's Greek and then English, and the first letter. So that's going to give a URL that's already, partially been done for them. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to copy that URL. And then I'm going to put in another shape that's going to link to the URL for Google Translate. I'm just going to put that right there. There's my shape, and just going to go ahead and click on the link and then click on apply. I'll make my shape fill transparent, and I'll make my line transparent. Okay, so anyway, that being said, what students will do is they'll be able to click on that. It's going to bring them to the Google Translate that's already from Greek to English, and it's partially done. Now, students can select, basically they can start typing. So for example, the next letter looks like a K. I'm not very good with Greek letters, but they can type it in, or they have the ability to handwrite it. Now, this might be good for some of the letters that don't appear similar in the English language. So for example, the A appears very similar to the A in English, so does the K. Again, I'm not the best with the Greek language as far as knowing the names of the letters. I'm just going to go ahead back over really quickly to take a look. Okay, so it's kind of like a P, O, pi symbol, O, and then an upside down Y. So I'm just going to go ahead here. I'm going to type in. So the P would probably be obvious. The O would probably be obvious. The pi symbol, maybe not so much if you were to type it as opposed to handwrite it. Same thing with the what appears to be like an upside down Y. And sort of an N with the long one. But you click on it, and it comes up with Acropolis. So then students would know that that would be the word lock. Now, that being said, if you were working with younger students, you might choose to just simply do it in English. But to make it a bit of a challenge, put it in the language of whatever you're studying. All right. So anyway, that being said, the next thing we're going to be doing is creating a new Google form that's going to use what we call response validation. And this is where we're actually going to put the locks. So you're going to click on New, and then click on More. And then from here, what you'll do is click on Google Forms. Okay, so then from here, what you're going to do is just type in the name of the form. So in this case, I'm going to call it Escape the Museum. Oh, not sure why it started putting it down there. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead, give it the name, put the name up at the top. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a question. So we're going to start with the word lock. And we're going to do it in all caps. So with response validation, it does have case sensitivity. So for the purposes of this, we're going to do all caps. Then if you click on the three dots and then choose response validation, that's how we're going to make it into a lock. We're going to change it so that it says text contains, and then we're going to put in Acropolis. Then we have the error text. We're just going to say something like keep trying, and that's what students will see if they get it incorrect. We're going to make it a required question, and then we're going to duplicate that a couple of times. Of course, we'll be changing the duplication. So now we're going to change this so that it says number lock. And of course, all caps doesn't make sense with numbers, so I'm just going to get rid of that. We're going to make it so that the text contains 1908. So that's our number lock for the year the Phaedo Styx was found. And then you're going to choose the next lock and choose color lock. And again, we're going to go with all caps. And just going to go ahead and quickly check on the color lock for a quick moment because I don't remember off the top of my head what it is. YBGY. Okay. And actually, I should have put just the first letter. Anyway, so YBGY. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to just preview it. So you click on the eyeball. I'm just going to put in the wrong answers just so you see what happens. So you'll notice it says keep trying, and if you click submit, it doesn't let you submit. So the students actually have to have all the right answers to submit. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave. And then from this point, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the directional lock. Sorry about the lag. Okay, so anyway, in our digital breakout scene, we've got the clue already that has sort of that clue that has the viewfinder. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a copy of that. All right, so anyway, if I click on the finder, and then I can either click and drag it, or I can use the arrow keys. So just to kind of quickly review, it says to start at the Temple of Athena Nike. So right here, I actually have a link to the Temple of Athena Nike in Google Maps. Obviously, I had to search for this, but I just put it into my document just to make things a little easier rather than searching, because unfortunately, I've got a bit of a lag here. So here's Temple of Athena Nike on Google Maps. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the URL. Okay, sorry. Oh, and you know what I'm also going to do is I'm actually going to take a screenshot, because I'm going to put the screenshot of maps into my my scene. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to simply copy and paste it. Unfortunately, it looks like I'm having a little bit of lag issues right now. Okay, so I'm going to try the next thing. I'm going to go ahead and show it in the folder. All right, so now hopefully from here I should be able to click and drag it again. Sorry about the lag. So clicking and dragging. No such luck. Try it again. Click, drag. All right, so I tried copying and pasting. I tried clicking and dragging. Plan C, we're going to upload from computer instead. Sorry about that. Okay, third time's a charm. So there's our screenshot, open. Yay, okay. So you'll notice, just gonna go ahead and close up this window right here. You'll notice it kind of stands out a bit. I'm just gonna make it smaller. I'm just gonna drag it onto the wall sort of in the background. And then from here, I'm gonna give it a little frame so that it kind of looks like a picture that's hanging up on the wall. Give it a color for the frame. And then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to format it and just make it so that it's, maybe a color that's blending into the background more. So there we go. That tends to blend into the background more. Maybe change the color a little bit so that it's a little darker around the edges. It still has a frame. And then from that point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, copy the URL of Google Maps, click on my image, and just going to go ahead and click on the link button. And not sure why there's already a link there. I'm just going to paste that link and hit apply. So now that should bring my students to the Temple of Athena Nike in Google Maps. All right, so I'm just going to kind of show that I also have a link to the Temple of Athena Nike if you click on the viewfinder. So you can do something similar if you want. Anyway, just going to show where we have to go. So the viewfinder shows start at Temple of Athena Nike. And it says, then go to the Parthenon. So if we look Temple of Athena Nike, and then Parthenon's to the east. So we're going to remember that. So east is going to be the first part of our directional lock. Then if we go back over to our viewfinder, after it says to go to the Parthenon, it says to go to the Erechtheion. So east and then north. So kind of remember that for our directional lock. Then if we go back over to our viewfinder, you'll notice that it says, then go to the Theater of Dionysus. So we went from Temple of Athena, east, north, Theater of Dionysus, south. So east, north, south. And then finally, it says to go to the Museum of Modern Greek Culture. So anyway, so it's east, north, south, north. So then what we're going to do next is we're going to go over to our form. I'm just going to duplicate that color lock. And then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change it so that it says directional lock. Again, I should specify that it was just the first letter, but we're going to say it contains east, north, south, north. And then you'll notice east, then north to the Erechtheion, south to the Theater of Dionysus, north to the Museum of Modern Greek Culture. So that's why it's east, north, south, north. Make sure it's a required question. And so anyway, the next time we meet, what we will be doing is we'll be taking all of these resources and putting them into the one Google site. But anyway, that being said, I'm just curious to know if anybody has any questions up to this point. And I know, unfortunately, there's a little bit of a lag, so I do apologize. Oh, do we have to have the directional lock? Good question. So if it's age appropriate, you should, but if you're teaching younger students, then I would say you probably don't need it. Yep, exactly. Grade 2. Yep, I would agree that that's maybe not developmentally appropriate, but you could have 2 word locks or 2 number locks or something along those lines. You definitely want to make it age appropriate. Is the only requirement for PDPs the responding to the discussion boards and online videos? That's probably one of the most popular questions. That is it. That's all you have to do is, I'll post an article each week along with questions that relate to the article and the screencast. So you do have to view both the article and the screencast in order to answer the questions, but you get PDPs. So yeah, kind of simple, easy way to get PDPs. Anyway, do we need word locks? Not technically. Again, what you could do is make it, age appropriate. So, with younger kids, it could be a letter lock. It could be a sight word, again, to make it age appropriate. I can't wait, honestly, to see like some of the different escape rooms that are made for different levels, because of the fact that I teach middle school. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Kristen. I was going to say I teach multiple grade levels, but in middle school. So I have 5th through 8th grade. So, it's difficult to put myself in the shoes of a 2nd grade teacher. But that being said, I do have elementary certification, but I don't actually have any teaching experience with those grade levels, younger than 5th. So, I have a little bit of background knowledge, but certainly not as much as an actual second grade teacher. But I look forward to seeing the different levels, an elementary school level escape room versus a high school level escape room. Anyway, I'm so looking forward to Mary's with the Great Gatsby. I know that, you're not necessarily going to submit it if you're not taking the course for credit, but hopefully there are enough people that are taking the course for credit that are at different levels. Again, because, I love to be able to learn from you as much as you've learned from me. So anyway, I'm just going to go ahead, and I think at this point we're going to stop the meeting.